that we had that area of broad rotation. It's tightened up. It's moving off to the east, northeast, actually, per the National Weather Service, east at 25. But these have been moving quicker than that, so I wouldn't be shocked if it is moving a little bit faster than that. So if you live, I'm going to zoom in here, between just to the south of Newville, just to the south of Dickinson, you can see I-81, you can see State Route 174. You need to be in your safe zone. This area of rotation is just to the south of Walnut Bottom and really close to Lee's Cross Road. So once again, if you're in Walnut Bottom, you still want to take this seriously. The rotation now getting to the south and east of you pretty quickly. It's just to the east of Lee's Crossroads, South Newton, Hayes Grove, and eventually it'll be getting really close to the Cobblesville area. So anywhere in this vicinity, you'll want to take your safety precautions. If you're on a one-level home, that means getting into the most interior room in your home, like a bathroom, away from windows. Now, if you are in a home that has a basement, the basement, that's the place where you want to be. Let's look at reflectivity here. We can see that kind of inflow area. We say an inflow notch. Where you're seeing the darker shades of red, that's the potential for some hail, some really heavy rain. Again, Christine and I were just shocked to see that camera footage, that live glance of conditions along I-81 and State Route 174. So this does include Mount Holly Springs. I'm going to turn the lightning off. I know it's kind of covering up some of our towns there. So Dickinson to Mount Holly Springs, this is your time to go now, a time to get to your safe zone. I'm going to turn on our what we call our debris tracker, and looking at that, let's see if this is actually coming out. This is now using live local 8. Remember, that's our live local radar out of Millersville, Pennsylvania. And we are seeing some, we're not seeing that classic debris ball signature, but we are seeing some areas of less uniform properties. I do think this is still a radar indicated tornadic circulation, but we definitely see some, not just the straight reds, Christine, that would indicate, just heavy rain.
Right. We were, like you said, we were just watching the PennDOT camera at Walnut Bottom, 81, and boy, that rain was intense, like torrential downpour. And there were cars pulling off on the side of the road just to tell you how strong that rain was. Now, this signature that we've been watching, this rotation, what we're looking for, the red and the greens together, right? So that's going to indicate a rotation in the cloud, so radar can indicate this for us. And yeah, it's just south of Dickinson there. So if you are in Cumberland County right now, there is a tornado warning, and that goes until 7 p.m. So south of Dickinson toward Mount Holly Springs, the storm is moving to the east at 25, 30 miles per hour. The warning again goes until 7 o'clock. So if you are in this vicinity or you're in York Springs, you might want to start to think, if this warning is extended, about getting to your safe spot, what you can do to stay safe. So right now, as far as roads go, this is now to the east of 81, approaching 233. Approaching Pine Grove Furnace and the bottom part of Cumberland County, and this is just south of Carlisle. So Carlisle, you are not in this tornado warning, but areas to your south, yes. And it looks like, kind of going over more of a wooded area right now. There could be folks perhaps camping or out doing recreational activities. If you know of any family or friends out there in the southern part of Cumberland County, perhaps out enjoying the day today, make sure you give them a call, give them a heads up of this dangerous storm headed their way.
In the rotation now, using live locally, Christine, it looks even worse. So that
right,
is
real intense, right? So when you see those bright colors, especially when they really light up green and red next to each other, that's indicating, the radar's indicating to us that this storm, this supercell thunderstorm, is rotating. And let's put the reflectivity back on there. Where I know we are talking about frequent lightning, torrential rain.
Look at all the lightning.
Yeah, look at all those freaking lightning strikes. So Mount Holly Springs, the rotation is going just south of you, Dickinson, just south of you. But if you are in those communities, especially south of the borough, I need you to get into your safe spot right now, basement, most interior room of your house, because this is a pretty decent signature.
It is. And, this area has been kind of untouched so far today, Christine. So there is that, that breeze, that south to southeasterly breeze pumping up into this. It's been strong all day. And the shear in these areas to the north, remember, we've talked about that a lot today, the difference in wind heading up into the atmosphere. It's been a lot greater in this part of the viewing area and farther to the north. So it's still going through an area that has the ingredients in play where it could sustain itself for a bit.
Especially, you got sun at your house today. That's what we like to say, during severe weather, on a severe weather impact day or an alert day, you don't want that sunshine because that just fuels these storms, makes them stronger, gives them more energy, and plus the very soupy, humid air mass in place. That's why we're getting the torrential rain, the very, heavy downpours, the frequent lightning. And this storm, again, is going to be moving to the east, kind of east-southeast at 25, 30 miles per hour. So right now, if we take a look at the storm winds, on TVM2, on computer 2, if we could, you can really see those bright reds and greens together approaching Pine Grove Furnace. So if you are in the vicinity of 233, I need you to get into your safe spot right now, basement, most interior room of your house or lowest level. Also in the path of this tornado-warned storm is getting kind of a rural area south of Dickinson, south of Mount Holly Springs, but right along Pine Grove Road, that rotation will be tracking toward Hunter's Run, Peach Glen, Goodyear, Mount Victory Church, if you're familiar with that area, over toward the Lattimore area. York Springs could be next if this warning is extended to the east. So in those spots like York Springs, Dillsburg, just a heads up for you folks, this tornadic storm, this rotating thunderstorm will be headed your way. So start thinking about the preps you need to make.
For sure, and you mentioned people being out. This is really close, that rotation to Kings Gap State Park. I'm not sure how large of a park that is, Christine, but if anyone is out and about at all, you need to get to shelter quickly. If you can, get to a vehicle or maybe somewhere under cover.
Sturdy,
somewhere sturdy, for sure.
Definitely not under a tree. That's not a safe spot.
No.
If you are stuck with nowhere else to go, you kind of want to find a ditch or a low-lying area, get in there and kind of cover your head. So if you know folks out and about, enjoying this day, camping, hiking, try to give them a call. And maybe cell service isn't the greatest, but this is a very dangerous storm. It's been rotating for a long time. We've been watching this.
I know you were worried while I was on the air giving the weather forecast. There was rotation. We've been watching it for the last half hour or so. And
do we have any reports or people seeing funnels? We stay in touch with the National Weather Service, and we're able to, get any storm reports from spotters, from emergency managers, community officials. So we're just going to check that right now to see if we have any confirmed rotation. McKenna says she hasn't received anything to the news desk quite yet. National Weather Service says nothing yet, no reports?
Nothing yet, no. There has been some damage in other spots, and that's something we're going to keep you updated on from the cells that have already moved through, but nothing as of now with this current circulation.
And I would certainly, seeing that on the PennDOT camera on 81 and Walnut Bottom, just seeing the ferocious winds with this, I would assume there are trees down or perhaps some lines down, definitely very strong wind damage. So the signature right now still in the southern end of Cumberland County. The storm is moving to the east at 25, 30 miles per hour. This is south of Dickinson, south of Mount Holly Springs. But TJ, if we can look at computer 2, you can see there's kind of another couplet here. Just approaching Mount Holly Springs. That is also in the warning. It's not the cell that is warned, but it's now kind of going into that warning box. A little suspicious of that as well. Perhaps some more rotation within this dangerous thunderstorm.
For sure, and if these areas were to maybe merge, that could increase that rotation as a whole.
Strengthen
and
it.
It could maybe go through a cycle, and it could become a bigger, stronger area of rotation. So
I was going to say, so what does this mean for you in Mount Holly Springs and Dickinson right now? You need to be in that safe spot because there is a rotating thunderstorm in the vicinity right over you. So please take this warning seriously, heed these warnings. The second area of rotation now approaching Mount Holly Springs is near the Savannah School. You can kind of see that. We also have it around Pine Grove Furnace. So these are two separate areas of rotation in Cumberland County, in this warned area, that you need to, take that heed.
I'm going to try to do a little storm track here, Christine. I know sometimes it goes out kind of far, but I know this is moving, as you mentioned, around 25 to 30 miles per hour. So we'll give you some other places that could be impacted here over the next, half hour or so. But I would say if you're anywhere in northern York County, you'll want to be on high alert for this if it continues to show the characteristics, that it is now.
And I would say northern Adams County as well, near,
sure.
near Bendersville, near York Springs. So these are the spots where we really need you to pay attention here over the next 30 minutes or so as this storm moves to the east.
And it almost looks like, at least using what we could see from State College's National Weather Service radar, anywhere from Bendersville, it almost looks like there could be 3 areas of rotation popping up.
This is a new scan. So,
yeah.
You can see now approaching Bendersville, not a great couplet, not a really tight couplet, but certainly those two colors, red and green, coming together, which will indicate some rotation in the thunderstorm.
For sure. And remember, if you don't have a basement, you need to be in the most interior room in your house. That's likely a bathroom or a closet. And you just want to protect yourself, but you want to do so quickly. Try to get to that safe zone in your home as quick as you can. If you do have a basement, that's the best place to be. But still seeing 2 areas of rotation, as Christina's been mentioning here, in this area of Cumberland County, eventually going to get close to the York-Adams County lines in the next, I would say, 10 to 20 minutes or so.
So if we can take computer 2, I just want to show you the reflectivity really quick. We've been looking at velocity, which is those reds and greens. It shows us the rotation. Reflectivity is just a general picture that you'd see of a radar. So this is the intense cell that we've been following, the one that's south of Carlisle, south of Dickinson, south of Mount Holly Springs, and that's the tornado warned storm in effect until 7 p.m. if you're just joining us. This storm is moving to the east. It has frequent lightning, torrential rainfall, and you were even saying some hail, TJ.
I would say where that pink is, right on,
zoom into that.
Yeah, really close to State
South
Highway
of
34.
Mount Holly Springs.
You don't hear us throw the science around a lot. I mean, we want it to be understandable for you at home, but I'm going to say a word that you maybe haven't heard before. In the forward flank downdraft region of this, that's the kind of the area to the north and the east of that rotation. That's where the heavy rain is. That's where the hail is.
Right.
In that area of pink, there could be some large hail coming down for sure.
And it is warm outside. You know, we hit what did we get to the 90s today? So officially in Harrisburg, and it's very humid. The atmosphere is loaded with moisture. So not only are you going to get frequent lightning, torrential rain, but also the possibility of rotation in these storms, which we have seen several times today already.
And the thing is, as you mentioned, with all that soupiness, when you have dew points that high, you can have the cloud bases getting really low to the ground. That's one of the reasons why we have the potential for tornadoes, because not only do you need the wind to twist high upstairs in the atmosphere, but to have all the moisture in the air, we can get those clouds to really get low to the ground. And if you get any sort of twisting of the wind, it's pretty easy to get a funnel cloud and potentially a tornado to form.
Yeah, and what we're going to be looking here, I'm going to put on that velocity again. TJ, there's 2 areas of rotation.
For sure.
In the warned box. So it was issued originally for 1. Now there's 2 fairly decent radar indicated areas of rotation, one to the south of Dickinson, one approaching the borough of Mount Holly Springs. So again, Mount Holly Springs here, this is a serious situation. You need to take this seriously. You need to get into your safe spot there, right over the borough now, South Middleton, Boiling Springs, right near you. So these are spots where we're really going to be seeing some, intense torrential rain, heavy downpours, most likely some damage, maybe some trees down. So that's what we need to be looking for here.
This was actually a report not regarding this cell, but a tree down in Mannheim on North
Penryn Road. Okay, yeah,
yes.
There are storms elsewhere, but we are
For sure.
specifically been talking about this tornado warned storm. Let me show you kind of the bigger picture right now. We have a heavy storm over South Mountain, one right over 81 in southern Franklin County, and then we've been watching this cell as well. You see this Boeing line here, TJ, right through Pottsville, headed toward Hamburg.
Yeah.
Indicating very strong winds, bowing that segment out. So torrential rain plus the damaging winds, but this particular area not under a tornado warning, just a severe thunderstorm warning, and winds could be up to 70 miles per hour.
For sure, and that can do just as much damage
Absolutely.
as a low-end tornado. So, we always want to put just as much stock in a severe thunderstorm warning of this caliber, where there could be gusty wind that high. So please, even if you're not under a tornado warning right now, if you're close to Lebanon City, Myerstown, Hershey, Grantville, today's a day where you could be out at the park, you could be out doing things with your family, as Christine was hitting on. Anything outdoors, you want to try to get off the road. If you're driving close to these areas, these towns, these villages and boroughs, you want to get off the road, or at least wait till the worst of this is past, because it's going to be nasty as it moves in, and these are moving at a really good clip.
I'm just going to loop the last 30 minutes here, and then you can see, the areas that we're watching. Severe thunderstorm warned cells moving through parts of Dauphin, Lebanon, Berks counties right now, and that tornado warned cell moving through Cumberland County. TJ, I wouldn't be surprised to see this go into parts of Adams and York counties as well, the tornado warned
I feel like I could totally agree and see this get extended even farther eastward, Christine, as we head through the next half hour. So still seeing a little sign of an inflow notch between York Springs and Dillsburg. So already get the jump on things. If you're in York Springs, if you're in Dillsburg, you probably want to get to your safe zone as well, as this is moving quickly in your direction.
Yeah, I would say all of sort of northern York County, start making your preparations now. If you have that outdoor lawn furniture, you want something to secure. You have furniture outside, a grill outside, a trampoline,
sure.
Umbrellas, you want to bring those down, bring them in preparation for this heavy cell moving your way.
I wouldn't be shocked I would just estimate. I know we haven't had a lot of warning statements per the NWS today that have been including hail, but I wouldn't be shocked that there's at least quarter-size hail coming out of this cell. So please take this seriously. We are watching this closely. We're going to be with you as long as we think we need to be, as long as this is warned, and as long as it looks as nasty as it does.
Absolutely. And today I was a judge at the Shrewsbury Firemen's Carnival Parade. I just rolled in from that. That was great. And right now in York County, southern York County, you're fine if you're watching from the Firemen's Parade or any other, event going on around the Susquehanna Valley. But we will keep a watchful eye on this tornado warned storm, which is now at the bottom of Cumberland County, about to approach northern Adams and the northwestern part of York County. So we will keep an eye on that as that slides southeast. That could eventually impact, the Shrewsbury Firemen's Carnival.
For sure. And Christine, I've had a lot of questions today. Some folks have been asking, hey, why is it not storming at my house? Well, why do we have a tornado watch? All the things that will get asked a lot. It just means that it's favorable. It doesn't have to be storming at your house at this very moment, but it means that the atmosphere is primed for tornadic potential if a storm were to move in. And that's for all the valley right now. That goes until 8 o'clock, and we're still about an hour and 20 minutes from that. So as long as we're in this environment that we've been in, we have that potential for some. Again, this tornado warning, it goes until 7, so we still have about 20 minutes left to be with you, and we'll have to see if this does continue to get extended further into time as it moves out of Cumberland County into far northern Adams County, and eventually through York County as well.
Yeah, and again, I think this line is pretty much going to touch most of our viewing area. So, heads up, in Hershey right now, you're getting that heavy rain. You're kind of on the back edge of the cell. Palmyra, you're just on the back edge. Lebanon City, it's about to come toward you. This is not a tornado warned storm, but this is a severe thunderstorm with the potential of seeing 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts. And then that extends into Berks County as well, with kind of a Boeing line here. That's always a sign to us that there are some strong winds pushing that rain forward. So 60, 70 mile per hour gusts headed toward Hamburg, headed toward Kutztown, eventually here within the next, say, 30 minutes or so. But Hershey, you're kind of on the tail edge of that. Lebanon City, you'll just get grazed by that severe thunderstorm. And then we have this tornado warned cell, which is pretty much getting into Adams County and over the York County line right now. So again, if you're in Dillsburg, York Springs, Wellsville, East Berlin, you need to start making your preparations and getting to your safe spot as this cell quickly moves east-southeast.
Now that area, that severe thunderstorm warning area, Christine, I'm just looking at the National Weather Service. I know the National Weather Service doesn't throw this around a lot, but we were talking about the 70 mile per hour wind.
Yeah.
They have thrown the considerable damage tag.
Okay.
There has been 70 mile per hour wind observed in that severe thunderstorm warning. So that continues for Dauphin, Lebanon, Northumberland, and Schuylkill counties until it's slated to expire at 6:45, but I wouldn't be shocked if it gets extended even more, because that's still, it was blowing so much and it was nasty looking.
Exactly. So considerable damage can be done either by straight line winds or a tornado. A tornado is just rotating winds, right, that cause the damage, but straight line winds can be equally damaging. They can take down trees in a unidirectional pattern, and they can both be extremely dangerous.
For sure. And the thing is with that, it can cover more ground than maybe a tornado would, at least the tornadoes that we oftentimes see here in the valley. They're not the large, massive ones sometimes we
Right.
see out in the Midwest and the plains. So if we have straight line wind, that could encompass many boroughs and towns in areas around the community.
So let's put on the reflectivity here. I'll kind of stop this down for us. Again, the rotation, it's there. There are several areas of rotation within this tornado warned storm. So that's what makes this very tricky. Mount Holly Springs, right over you right now. You need to be in your safe spot there. Gardner's in northern Adams County, the Lattimore area, headed toward Clear Spring, headed toward Dillsburg. As these storms move to the east-southeast, 25, 30 miles per hour, this tornado warning will likely be extended into parts of northwestern York County and northern Adams County. So York Springs, Dillsburg, please make your preparations to get into your basement or the lowest, most interior room of your house as this tornado warned storm moves east.
In the one plus, I would say that oftentimes, just like on a normal summertime day where you can get just your normal thunderstorms that fire up and come down, they go through cycles. It looks like maybe this cell could be going through one. The rotation, it doesn't look quite as organized as what it did, let's say, 10 minutes ago, but this warning still is ongoing for the next 15 minutes. So we'll have to continue to get these scans from the National Weather Service radar and Live Local 8 as we head through the next 15 minutes to see if it continues to get extended. Now, it looks like they did pull the trigger and issue a severe thunderstorm warning.
Here, it just came across my phone. Let me read this to you as far as timing. This is a newly issued, one moment, here it is, a newly issued severe thunderstorm warning until 7:30, and that does include northeastern Adams County, central Cumberland County, southeastern Dauphin County, and northwestern York County. So kind of at the intersection of all of these counties, a very large severe thunderstorm warning in this yellow box here with a tornado possible. So they're still seeing rotation within this storm, torrential rain, frequent lightning, damaging wind gusts in excess of 60, maybe even up to 70 miles per hour. I'll put the reflectivity on for you there. It is just pouring in York Springs, Mount Holly Springs. You're almost out of it. Dickinson, you're in the clear, but Dillsburg, York Springs, even Bendersville, really under the worst torrential rain and the heaviest wind, frequent lightning with the storm.
And it still doesn't take much for a tornado to spin on up because of the atmosphere the way it is today. So that's why even though this tornado warning is still in effect for Cumberland County until 7, they've extended this now and they've gone ahead and mentioned the tornado possibility despite this just being, and I don't want to say just, quote unquote, but it's a severe thunderstorm warning. So eventually, with that, we still could have that potential for a tornado, but gusty wind a main concern, hail possibly in the quarter size a concern, and this is going ahead eventually right toward York City.
Right, and toward York City, the end of the warning, you see this yellow box here, I'm pointing it out for you here, from York Haven to Emmetsville to York, that's, where we continue to see the edge of this warning, but that could very well be extended even into Lancaster County as the evening wears on. So really, I'd say across the Susquehanna Valley, start thinking about making preparations, especially York Haven, Emmetsville, York, Spring Grove, East Berlin, Dover, to bring in anything you want to secure outdoors and get into your safe spot in your home as this storm is moving to the east-southeast at about 30 miles per hour.
And the wind gusts, again, that's what we've said so many times already. It could still do damage. So you have a little bit of lead time now, especially if you're in places like York Haven and York, and then eventually getting into northwestern Lancaster County, anywhere from E-Town to Red Light in York County. It's all going to move eastbound, and I would imagine only going to pick up steam over the next half hour to an hour or so.
And look at this concentrated lightning right now between Dillsburg, York Springs, absolutely torrential rain. You know how humid it has been today. It's just, a sauna out there. And that moisture in the atmosphere is working to fuel these storms. And in addition, we have this low-level twisting of the winds, which is causing rotation to develop in many of the storms that we've seen today. We still have a tornado-warned storm for 12 more minutes in this red box here, although the reflectivity, the velocity has moved into, I'd say, northern Adams County, northwestern York County of the area of suspicion where there could be some rotation here.
For sure. I was just going through the National Weather Service chat, Christine. Still no new reports of any sort of damage just yet, at least in the vicinity of this cell, but we'll continue to keep tabs on that as well as it continues to work eastbound.
Yeah, we're just seeing broad rotation here. I don't want you to go outside and look if the clouds are rotating. You need to be in your safe spot, especially if you're in Dillsburg, York Springs. And please make preparations in Wellsville, Dover, East Berlin in this severe thunderstorm warning, because a tornado warning could be extended at any time. What are you seeing north, TJ?
We still have that extreme bowing, so I know we're starting to get out of our viewing area.
Can we see the other computer, please? Our computer number 1?
If we can, if you live in northern Berks County, you're likely going to have some pretty strong wind coming out of this. And again, that was that storm that was mentioned, considerable damage potential with this. And this wind gust could be up between 60 and 70 miles per hour.
And it can do the same damage as a tornado. It doesn't have to be a tornado warned storm to be cause considerable damage. We're talking 70-mile-per-hour winds that will take down trees. It could cause damage to buildings, of course. And if you're driving on 78, that's very dangerous. Torrential rain, probably can't see very much in front of you. Frequent lightning, and this is bowing toward Hamburg. It will be approaching Kutztown and just moving north of Reading.
For sure. Traveling out of the valley, if you're heading up that way, you'll want to watch this storm extremely closely because it has not been friendly. It has been packing a big punch. But that's really the only other warning that we have out there, Christine, aside from the one that's down to our southwest.
And let's talk about Lebanon County really quick, if we can zoom in there. I know it's raining very heavily right now, but the warning for Lebanon County has now expired. I believe that was at 6:45 that expired. Doesn't mean these storms aren't still strong, and this is approaching Lebanon City now. So right over Jonestown, Palmyra, Lebanon, Myerstown, torrential rain. Again, you could have some frequent lightning, even some small hail, won't rule it out.
Yeah.
Not the worst of the storm, not the strongest winds. That's just going to be off to your northeast in Berks County, but still don't want to leave you out in Lebanon County. No apparent danger right now, but definitely strong storms.
For sure. And there's still the potential, at least looking at some of the latest data, I think there is going to be some more development back to the southwest, and that could very well lift up into the valley
across
over the next,
Maryland.
Yep, and that's what you were telling us, Christine, earlier. We were all talking about that the threat, even though the watches, or at least the tornado watch in particular, ends at 8, the severe thunderstorm warning to our east is slated to expire at 11. I think there's still going to be that potential for strong storms into the late night hours. So that's what we'll be watching here as long as that threat's ongoing.
And a lot of folks, you're out, you're barbecuing, you're having dinner, you're doing your Saturday, afternoon stuff in the heat of the day. And I just want to give a warning to the places that may have not seen storms yet, but they're coming your way. So we're talking about spots in northern York County. If we can go to computer number 2, are we on there? Or you can zoom into northern York County.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, for sure.
So we're calling out Wellsville, Dover, York Haven, Emmetsville, East Berlin. These are spots where this broad circulation, this severe thunderstorm warned storm is heading in the next 20 minutes. So this warning, it goes till 7:30. It might even be out of that box by 7:30, TJ. It's moving at a pretty good clip.
Well, some of the other ones, Christine, earlier on today were moving between 40 and 55 miles per hour. So, and usually when they start moving that fast, there's going to be extreme wind coming out of those. So I think all of this going to move, which is good news. It'll get out of here quicker. But yeah, it's definitely going to pack a punch as they do so.
And we're still seeing two rather broad but decent areas of rotation in 2 different spots. So now we're talking about York Springs in northern Adams County and Dillsburg in northwestern York County, right along 15 there. 2 areas of broad rotation, still could be quite dangerous. There is not a tornado warning at this time, but this severe thunderstorm warning comes with the tag tornado possible. That means at any time a funnel could form out of this severe thunderstorm and drop down. So we want you to heed this warning, take it seriously. A severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 7:30 for the northern York County, northern Adams County area. And it does clip extreme southern Dauphin County, although the storms are not there right now, the most intense part of the storm.
Sure. And the one plus about this is that the way this is moving, to the north and east earlier on today where we had that first tornado warning, that's where that twisting of the wind, that organizational wind in the atmosphere was much greater. It hasn't been as strong the farther south you get. And as this all continues to move east, thankfully, we're going to lose some of that daytime-driven instability. So conditions will eventually become less favorable the deeper we get into the evening, which is good news.
Now, we haven't been talking about some areas. We really haven't said much about Lancaster County just yet. I want to give you kind of a preview. We want to take a look at our Storm Team Live Radar Network as well as Live Local 8, which is in Millersville, Lancaster County. So that really gives us a great view of what's going to be happening at ground level. Really helps us detect that low-level rotation that the National Weather Service radars can overshoot or exacerbate a little bit in these situations. Rotation in the upper levels, but not the low levels. And that's what we want to know, what's going on at the low levels closest to the ground. So Live Local 8 will help us detect that, and we can see that as the storm moves closer to Lancaster County. But right now, we have one active severe thunderstorm warning for our area that is until 7:30. This is impacting the northeastern corner of Adams County, northwestern York County, and southern Dauphin County. Look at that frequent lightning.
I know, there's so much
torrential
lightning.
rain.
You don't want to be outside. I know many of you probably had plans today. That was the one thing we wanted to hit home on you about this weekend. It wasn't going to be a washout, despite it being an impact weekend and eventually an alert day today. The latter half of the day was going to be the more unsettled period. So if you have been out and about, maybe you're still hanging out with friends and family, and you're seeing the darkening sky, you'll want to watch.
And I'm just putting on the velocity once again. And remember what we look for, the reds and the greens, very bright, very close to each other. We call that a couplet. And it's weakened considerably. We still have some areas of, I would say, broad rotation, weak rotation around Dillsburg to York Springs. It's not as intense as it was earlier. Doesn't mean that this storm is not still dangerous. The tornado warning has expired, but we are still watching this severe thunderstorm with a tornado possible tag on it. TJ, did you get some new information?
So the tornado watch is still in effect for Adams, Lancaster, and Lebanon and York counties until 8, but it's been canceled for the rest of the viewing area, which is good news.
So, in effect, ahead of the line, canceled behind the line, saying the warning, the danger is pretty much over for you. In which one was it canceled? In Cumberland? Dauphin,
Franklin,
and Fulton.
Yeah,
Midland. And Juniata.
Yes, all of our northwestern locales that got the warning first today, they are now canceled.
So we are still seeing until 8 o'clock for another hour a tornado watch in effect for the counties in red there, including Adams, York, Lancaster, and Lebanon, and a severe thunderstorm watch off to our east as well as down to our southwest. So counties have been trimmed back if you want to enjoy the rest of the evening back toward Lewistown and Selinsgrove and Chambersburg. You're now in the clear from severe weather, but areas to the southeast where you've been untouched, you haven't seen much.
For sure.
The storms are moving toward you. So let's take a look at our Weather 2 computer real quick. We'll take a look at the just entire area, see what's going on. Southern York County, you haven't seen anything today. Lancaster County, you haven't seen much. I'm going to loop this here, this storm that's been over Lebanon County. You can see it's moving to the east-southeast, so this could be in northern Lancaster County shortly. It is not warned. It's not severe at this time, but it's still packing quite a punch. It's still strong. We have torrential rain, some frequent lightning as well. Could even be some small hail in these storms. So, if you're in northern Lancaster County, you might want to start securing any outdoor objects, say around Schaeferstown to Denver to Manheim to Lidditz and Ephrata, as this line of storms moves into northern Lancaster County next.
The 1+2, as this complex continues to move east, the atmosphere has really gone through it. So despite having the worst of the weather now, we may still have some strong storms, but I would think that they would still overall be generally weaker as we head into the latter half of the evening and eventually into the wee hours of Sunday.
And we have north of Gettysburg now a cell. It's not warned, doesn't look any suspicious for any very strong winds, but certainly heavy rain that's moving just north of Gettysburg, south of Biglerville. And the warned storm, the one warning that we have is until 7:30. It's a severe thunderstorm warning with the tag tornado possible. So at any time, there may be a tornado warning reissued on the same cell that caused a tornado warning across Cumberland County.
We're not seeing that defined area of inflow that we had earlier on when we were seeing that greater area of rotation, that couplet, the greens and the reds touching. That's one plus. And we're, again, as Christina's been hitting on, still seeing some broad areas of rotation. I'm sure some really strong wind coming out of this
Strong wind.
possibly. Yeah, between 60 miles per hour, maybe even a little bit higher than that. Right now, I'm just taking a glance at that chat again. No other sort of damage reports coming in, but I only imagine that as the night wears on, we could see more of those coming in.
And hopefully these cells will continue to weaken. The rotation will continue to weaken as they move southeast.
sure.
But right now, the worst part of the storm is moving in northeastern Adams County and northwestern York County, right between Dillsburg, York Springs, and approaching Wellsville, Dover, and East Berlin. So if you're kind of in that area of the warned storm, even though it might not be raining yet at your house, I want you to get into your safe spot because these storms have been rotating and they have been producing torrential rain, frequent lightning, and damaging wind gusts.
I was just looking at that organizational wind or the twisting of the wind. There's still a pretty good amount of it across the Commonwealth and across the valley. So it doesn't take much for, again, this storm to reorganize and maybe get another area of tighter rotation to develop. So that's why we're still hanging with you. We're just going to kind of watch things closely with this cell as it continues to work off toward the east.
And I'm just going to loop on Weather Computer 2. Good, we have it pulled up the last hour. This is the tornado warned storm previously that is now a severe thunderstorm, and it is moving right over Dillsburg, Wellsville, almost out of York Springs now, but toward East Berlin, Dover, Emmetsville, and York. Even New Oxford could get clipped with some heavy rain. So this warning, the severe thunderstorm warning, still going on for 30 more minutes until 7:30. It does have very broad rotation with it. I'll put that on here. You can see right in the area of Dillsburg to York Springs where you see those reds and greens together. Broad, not as strong as it was before, but there still could be some very strong winds within this getting down to the surface.
The one thing that I'm noticing now with this new scan, Christina, I'm not sure if this is any sort of attenuation or anything like that, but there's a little appendage now getting picked up, and it looks like there's another clear area, that weak echo region where we could be seeing that inflow starting to maybe trying to reorganize that rotation just between Dover and Spring Grove. That'll be interesting as we head through the next 15, 25 minutes or so.
I can't seem to get my pointer on the map. Can you kind of circle that?
Oh,
for
most
folks?
definitely. Yeah, we can go back on to Weather Computer 1 here, and I will circle that area or point out that area that I'm talking about. It's right in here. So just to the north of Spring Grove, we have this area of blue, this weak echo area that we say. It's an area of inflow. It's an area of
Winds coming into the storm, right?
coming into the storm.
Yeah.
Yep, to tighten it up potentially once again. Anytime you start to see, a little appendage, a little tag on a storm that's been at least warned at times, there could be some rotation, and we're starting to see maybe a little weak couplet now just to the northwest of East Berlin, and that's really close to this area that we're talking about.
Still very concerned for you if you live in Wellsville, Dover, and East Berlin. Very broad rotation still around Dillsburg. York Springs, you're almost out of that potential rotation area. But if you're in northern York County, northwestern York County, I need you to take the storm seriously. There is no tornado warning, but there is broad rotation in the storm, and a tornado could form really at any time.
For sure. And that's what we've been talking about through the last couple of hours, really, with this potential. It does not take much. And as Christine hit on, these are moving through untouched areas, so the atmosphere hasn't really gone through the intense storms that we've already seen out to the west. So there's still that warm, moist air getting pumped into this. I would only imagine temperatures are still hanging out in the upper 80s. Ahead of this, which is where they are. So it's still pretty warm, and that's still keeping that instability around.
Untapped potential, right?
Most
Because
definitely.
we've had the sun that came out. We have that really thick humidity outside, and these areas have not been worked over yet with storms. So we have built up the instability in the atmosphere. There's low-level winds that can possibly be rotating, and that's why we have a tornado watch in effect until 8. And we did have several warnings earlier. Again, this is the cell, this severe thunderstorm warned cell in northwestern York County that I'm most suspicious about, still indicating some very broad rotation in that cell. And that's kind of right on the Adams, York County line between Dillsburg and, let me zoom in a little bit more here, York Springs, including Wellsville. So that's the area of interest just north of East Berlin, where we could have some very broad rotation. Tornado warning could be issued at any time.
I'm going to do a little storm track on this. So it's likely going to be in York here in the next 15 minutes. Then eventually it's going to get into Lancaster County and be closing in on us probably within the next hour or so, I'd say.
Yeah, these storms are moving pretty good clip to the east, southeast, 25, 30 miles per hour, sometimes up to 40 miles per hour. So I think most of the area, by the time we hit dark, will at least see something or hear something brewing around your area. Southern York County untouched. I was just at the Shrewsbury Firemen's Carnival. We were judging the parade today.
Yes.
It was soupy. It was extremely humid. People were dripping sweat. Great event, and right now, nothing going on in Shrewsbury. However, that cell that's moving through northern York County, we're going to keep a watchful eye because I know there's concert tonight. There's a lot of folks out and about. And in addition, just driving up 83, I saw a lot of folks out on the river and on the lakes, and people are out and about. And if you haven't seen anything yet, you might by the end of the night. So again, in northern York County right now, I need you to start thinking in York, specifically York City, anything outdoors you don't want blowing around
for sure
in a severe thunderstorm. Bring it in, secure it, get those preparations made before the storm gets to your area within the next 10 to 20 minutes.
It's a huge travel day. Maybe you're heading up toward the Poconos or something like that. You're going to be following all of this moisture up toward the north and east. So it's not going to be the best time to be out and about traveling. Sadly for you, if that's what you were planning on, maybe try to wait things out and maybe put a pause on your plans for a little bit. But you can still see this is all across the central and eastern reaches of the
And our producer said we could take a look at our Lebanon Skycam right now. I know that's pounding rain through Lebanon City. I mean, torrential rain right now. No warnings issued for Lebanon City, but we are seeing very heavy rain. Cornwall to Schaeferstown to Myerstown. There you go. You can see the raindrops sort of dripping down on our Lebanon Skycam, certainly looking ominous. No severe thunderstorm warning for that cell, but torrential rain, a definite for you in Lebanon City. And that cell is sliding to the southeast, so Schaeferstown, you're up next. Northern Lancaster County, you're up next as well. So if you live in northern Lancaster County, especially the northeastern corner, Denver to Ephrata, Reinholds, Reamstown, you're going to get that severe thunderstorm, the thunderstorm, which could turn severe at any time. It's not warned right now, but certainly torrential rain and frequent lightning within these storms.
And being it's such a big travel day and travel weekend, even torrential rain and lightning, driving through any of these storms is not going to be a fun time at all. So definitely want to stay weather aware. That's why we up the ante, so to speak, from an impact day to an alert day, not only because of that, but all these factors go into what we think of when we pull those triggers. And we're going to potentially do it again tomorrow as the system continues to work eastward through the northeast and the mid-Atlantic.
Yeah, today we're in what we call the warm sector. So we are between a warm front and a cold front. And in that sector, there's typically a lot of veering in the winds and the low levels. And that's what's causing our tornado possibility today and several tornado warnings that we had. Tomorrow, the cold front comes through. So we'll have to watch again for some additional severe thunderstorms. I don't think the tornado threat is as high tomorrow, but we will see more sun.
Yes.
So therefore, the storms could still be packing a punch wind-wise
maybe
tomorrow.
Larger hail, too.
Correct.
So that's our big concern tomorrow. And the one plus, it is, we were all talking about that today, Christine, Mariano, and I, about the clouds hanging around, trying to limit that potential. We still had enough instability to develop, and I do think that we will have to watch that threat just as great tomorrow. But if we have some storms around in the morning, that could limit some of that. And I think we potentially could have some of that happening as well.
And again, this cell that's severe thunderstorm warned, we normally stay on for a tornado warning. This is a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible. And this cell was in Cumberland County. We saw on the camera with 81 at Walnut Bottom on the PennDOT camera. I mean, torrents of rain. People were pulling off on the side of the road.
Yeah.
I couldn't see. The visibility was zero.
No.
And that was extremely dangerous. So even though this is not tornado warned right now, the severe thunderstorm warning goes until 7:30. We still want you to take caution in northwestern York County and pretty much now headed toward York. This cell with prior rotation, even with weak current rotation, I'll put on the velocity for you here. Yeah, you see around East Berlin, up just to the east of Dillsburg, very broad couplet here. That's the red and the green together. That's a tornado signature that we look for, a rotation signature indicated by radar. So it's not as tight as it was before.
No.
It's not as strong, but a tornado could form at any time, and that's why we're staying on the air with you here in northern York County.
And hey, if you're in Lebanon, that's our sky cam there. Maybe you're looking out the window and you're seeing what we call just scary looking clouds. Those are not tornadic, but it doesn't look nice.
Is that our Lebanon or York sky cam?
That's our Lebanon sky cam.
Okay.
And we're looking, I believe that's eastbound over some of the city right now. Did get a report, and I know this is now about a half hour ago, but it's in Walnut Bottom when that rotation
Where we
was
saw, right.
Yeah, some trees were down on a roadway blocking a lane of traffic. It does not say where this is, but it was close to the Walnut Bottom area.
And that was the tornado warned storm. As soon as
Yes.
it moved just to the east of 81, the warning was pulled on that, and definitely there was strong rotation within that storm. So as damage reports come in, we'll continue to bring you those. Maybe there were some power outages because of that.
That's something I want.
Maybe McKenna's going to check on our power outages and see, what's going on. That kind of can signal where the strongest winds have come through, or maybe there are trees down, on wires down. So we're going to take a look at that and get back to you on that.
We'll get you an update for sure on that. I'm sure there are, I would imagine, thousands of people, at least in the area, without power at the moment.
One of our photographers lives on Walnut Bottom, so I just asked if his family can send in some pictures as well.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
And the good news is the danger is now past that area.
Mm-hmm.
There's still frequent lightning in the storm just to your east. So I really, if you're in Mount Holly Springs, you're still close enough to these storms to be potentially impacted by lightning. York Springs, Dillsburg, although the heaviest rain has ended, I don't want you to go outdoors just yet. You're too close to the lightning.
And the thing is, that's just a sign of how strong the storm is. All the lightning indicates how nasty it is, and it is still severe thunderstorm warned.
And TJ, I just don't, we don't typically stay on air for severe thunderstorm warnings, but I just don't feel good about this rotation. We are still seeing broad rotation on our velocity product, which shows within a thunderstorm a radar indicating winds moving in different directions.
Sure.
A twisting of the winds.
Over 2,000 outages right now. It looks like it's a little bit closer to Millersburg, Elizabethville, around that area, and that's expected to be restored. That's PPL reporting that. That's not going to be restored until about 3 a.m.
Oh,
so
wow.
that's going to be out for a while. There's about 800 kind of around the area, but just kind of just around that area, it looks like it's just been going up pretty rapidly.
That area was where we had the very first tornado warning this evening, and that's where we had two separate areas of rotation as well. So I'm interested to see what comes out of that portion of the valley too. Okay,
so again, to recap, if you're just joining us, maybe you're joining us in Emmetsville, York, the sky's getting nasty, you're starting to hear thunder, you're seeing the lightning flash in the distance. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for 20 more minutes, impacting mainly here through northern York County, maybe the southern end of Dauphin County, and Adams County looks like just the danger is kind of out of most of Adams County, just the extreme northeastern part of Adams County near East Berlin. That's the tail edge of the severe thunderstorm right now near Lake Mead. So we're still monitoring this for a possible tornado, some very broad rotation. Tornado could drop at any time. If you are in York City right now, I need you to start making your preps to get indoors, get in your safe spot, because this dangerous severe thunderstorm is headed your way.
The worst of it, at least if you're traveling through Adams County or out of Adams County into York County, it's north of Route 30. But still, if you're traveling eastbound, maybe you're heading toward York or eventually toward Lancaster along Route 30, it's going to be pretty nasty. The heaviest rain still north of you, but it's not going to be fun to drive through that. So just think about that if you are heading out or planning to head out in the near term. And
if you're driving up 83 right now, that's where the torrential rain is headed. It's staying north of Route 30. Around 234, I'd say that's kind of like the line right now where the nasty stuff is, north of 234 to the west of 83. So we're right over Wellsville with this frequent lightning. I have to even turn it off. I can't even see under it the towns. Davidsburg, Dover, around Fordville. This is where we're seeing the most intense rain. East Berlin, you're not in the clear just yet. And I'll put on the rotation once again. Again, very broad rotation between Dover and Wellsville. Just not feeling too good about this storm to leave you off air right now. No tornado warning, but a tornado is possible.
And that's what we've been monitoring all afternoon long. I think a lot of these have had that tornado possibility with them just because of the atmosphere being primed the way that it is. So that's why we just want to make sure you're safe, and that's why we want to continue to watch this closely with you as we head through the next at least 18 minutes or so.
So do we have our York Skycam? I believe it points east. I'm going to try to swing that around to the west right now, TJ, so I'll take a look at that, and we can probably see the storm coming in.
I'm going to pull it up right now. I know we can eventually bring it up into a 2-box, but okay, now we have it up. Great. And I will go back to our Storm Team Live Radar Network. So Christine's going to try to swing this around and get it looking west. I can only imagine it's going to look really ominous. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning with that tornado possibility is, wow, yeah, that does not look great. I'm sure we're going to see some flashes of lightning here eventually. Let's just stay with that because it's heading right into York City. It's knocking on your doorstep now, and eventually this is going to move, I would say, the heart of it into central Lancaster County. So we might not get the worst of it here in Lancaster City, but we're still going to get some torrential rains, and I wouldn't be shocked if this warning gets extended into Lancaster County, including us as well. But again, no tornado warning, thankfully. I'm going to stop this and give you a glance at where it is right now, but it's getting close to York City. The worst just to the northwest of York City, anywhere from, again, the lightning, as Christine mentioned, there's so much of it, it's tough to say, but you're getting really a deluge in Dover right now. The downpours there from really East Berlin up to Dover. And I'm going to put on our hail product. We might be able to see a little bit popping up. Yeah, it's not a large hail, but I would think there's at least some maybe pea to dime size hail coming down.
Did you just see that lightning strike?
I didn't. I was staring down.
I was doing a 360 just to kind of get my bearings on our York Skycam there. There was a bolt of lightning. So even though, we don't have a tornado warning, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning. You need to take this seriously. Not only frequent lightning and torrential rain, so much so that you can barely see in front of you if you're driving. If you need to head out somewhere and you're in the York area, you might want to just give it a little while until the storm passes, maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes until this storm clears York County. And the storm is moving southeast, so it will affect portions of eastern York County, western Lancaster County, and we also don't want to leave out southern Lebanon County right now. We can take a zoom in there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Intense heavy rain, no warning issued right now, but there could be some strong damaging winds in this in excess of 50 miles per hour. Myerstown, Schaeferstown, and that extends up into northern Berks County as well, where a severe thunderstorm warning was in effect. We saw those strong bowing winds headed toward Hamburg.
For sure.
70 mile per hour winds with considerable damage tag onto that warning. So, these storms, they're not messing around. They're not messing around today.
They mean business, yeah. And the atmosphere, the ingredients we had in play led us to believe that it was going to be one of these kinds of evenings. And again, have a way to receive those warnings. We're staying with you right now, but having the WGAL app downloaded, you can get interactive radar on that app. You can also get those alerts to the palm of your hand if you are traveling around the valley. And let's take Weather Computer 2 if we can, and we'll let Christine talk about this cell as it really closes in on the White Rose City.
About 15 more minutes for the severe thunderstorm warning. Now, this is the same cell that went through Cumberland County, that went through the Walnut Bottom area, that then was warned as a tornado warning. That tornado warning has expired, but we are still seeing broad rotation in this storm between Wellsville and Dover. Not as strong as it was, not as intense, but there are still some rotating in the lower levels of the atmosphere, which could indicate that a tornado could form at any time.
I'm looking at a live local data. I have velocity for that up on computer 1, and we're still seeing that area of rotation. Now, using live local data, again, this is shooting to the low levels. It does not look as impressive, which is good news, but what does look impressive, I'll go back to reflectivity, and we can see the potential for some small hail really on top of York. You can see the heavy rain, those shades of pinks. That's the potential for some good hail. Maybe not large hail, but definitely hail nonetheless.
And we haven't been talking a lot about hail. We have the torrential rain, we have the frequent lightning, we have the possible rotation and the damaging winds. Yes, there's also the possibility of some hail in these storms, which can be equally damaging.
Oh, for sure.
So this is really closing in right now on Emmetsville, York City. If you're in these spots, I need you to get into a safe spot in your home, lowest level or most interior room away from windows. No tornado warning is issued, but this severe thunderstorm warning comes with a tag tornado possible. There there is broad rotation, and a tornado could form at any time. We're still seeing that broad rotation on Live Local 8, scanning the low levels of the atmosphere between Wellsville and Dover to the east, northeast of East Berlin. So this is impacting the northern half of York County, and that severe thunderstorm warning goes for about 13 more minutes.
And that's what we've been seeing with this cell throughout the entirety of its life. We've had this area of rotation. Thankfully, it has been losing its punch, so to speak, its organizational properties, but there's still a little bit of rotation, and it's still going to be continuing to move closer and closer to the White Rose City within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So as Christine was hitting on, you'll definitely want to bring in anything that is prone to blowing around while you have the time, but it's really knocking on your doorstep. And then eventually, this is all going to move in to Lancaster County. I know we've been talking about, hey, we need the rain, hey, we need the rain. Mm-hmm. That's the one plus about all this is we are getting some much needed rain.
And I know a lot of folks, especially with this last system, south of Route 30 in Lancaster and York counties, barely got anything, a tenth or two.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll get the rain as the severe storms weaken. You'll get the beneficial rain without the severity. So I wanted to take a look kind of at the overall picture right now on Weather Computer 2 if we could. We do have quite a bit of action in Berks County. That's Hamburg to Kutztown, and that's where that Boeing line went right through Hamburg. 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. I would say probably some power outages, trees down, wires down there in Berks County. Now, in Lebanon County, you're almost out of the danger. I do want to highlight right now Myerstown and Schaeferstown. No warning in effect, but torrential rain. Now it's just moving out of Myerstown over Schaeferstown. So the extreme southeastern portion of Lebanon County, Kleinfeltersville, Stricklerstown, and even now into northern Lancaster County around Cocalico, we're talking about Denver, Reinholds, Terry Hill, Ephrata. This cell is coming towards you. Not severe, still could pack a punch. Winds of 50 miles per hour.
Around 300 outages in that area.
Okay.
Same thing, estimated restoration time of 3 a.m. That's according to PPL on their outage website.
Okay, so we are, obviously, when you get power outages, it's a sign there's winds.
For sure.
There's trees down, there's wires down.
Most definitely.
So if you do come across any wires, trees down, be sure to report that to your authorities. Don't get out of your car if wires come down around or near you. That is very dangerous. And of course, the torrential rain with this, we're very dry right now, but there could be some ponding, some localized flooding on the roads. So you need to take it slow, and visibility will be low during these torrential downpours.
Most definitely. And I do think once these storms get through, there could be some more rain, some more thunderstorms that come through later on tonight, but I do think the atmosphere is going to have a hard time recovering.
Kind of worked over.
Yeah, we may not have as great of a even strong storm threat as we head past, say, News 8 at 11 into the early portion of Sunday morning, which is good.
All right, and then I just wanted to give you just kind of, again, an overview. I know we haven't been talking a lot about Adams County here, around Biglerville to New Oxford. No warning for you. Certainly some torrential downpours. Don't want to leave you out, and that is right over New Oxford. These storms, they've been moving to the east-southeast, so Spring Grove, you might just get clipped. Hanover might just get clipped as well. And this severe storm that's in York, I don't know if we can pull up our York Skycam, take a look at how that's shaping up right now. I know we were looking off to the kind of the northwest, and it just looked ominous. I'm gonna swing it around a little bit, TJ.
Okay, sounds good.
We can see here.
And as Christina's doing that, I'm just doing I'm looking out to the west, looking at some of the latest data earlier on in the News 8 Storm Team Weather Center. We definitely had that potential for another round of storms, as we were just talking about. There are some warnings out there now, but again, I would think they would weaken. Look at the lightning in York. I'm going to zoom in, and Christine's got it on top of York right now. This warning goes right up to York City, has not gotten extended or expanded yet, but it's definitely going to impact the rest of the eastern portion of York County as it moves east and then eventually heading right into Lancaster County. But the sky looks ominous. Torrential rain and plenty of lightning.
And this severe thunderstorm warning, that yellow box that you're seeing on your screen right now, that goes until 7:30. So just 8 more minutes. We'll stay on the air with you here. The reason why we're staying on the air with this torrential rain and frequent lightning and the strong winds is because there is a tornado possible tag added to that severe thunderstorm warning. And we have been seeing very broad rotation and continue to see that very broad rotation in the vicinity of Emmetsville and Dover. Not nearly as strong as it was before, not nearly as tightly wound or as organized, but it's still there. And it makes me a little suspicious, TJ. I'm still watching because it's moving into areas that are untouched today, that haven't had the storms. So we're going to tap fresh energy where we did see some sun today, where we had that juicy atmosphere in place and where we haven't had storms yet. So the good news is this rotation that we've been following, and there's even some very broad rotation between Dover and Spring Grove. It is weakening. That's great news. We do not, need any tornado warnings extended here across York City, but there is still a severe thunderstorm warning right over York City for another 7 minutes.
I've pulled up Live Local 8 again, and thankfully, since the scan that we just gave you maybe 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, it looks even weaker and broader now.
A lot better outlook as far as seeing a rotating thunderstorm. We do not see that as pronounced as it was before. But don't get me wrong, torrential rain. It is just pouring. You can probably not even see in front of you in York and Emmetsville, York Haven. East Berlin, you have now been cleared. Wellsville, you're almost out of this. Dillsburg, you're in the clear. Dover's almost in the clear. So, you can resume your normal activities this evening once these dangerous storms pass. But please, don't go outdoors immediately after the rain stops. Lightning can strike up to 10 miles from the center of a thunderstorm. So you want to wait until you do not hear any more thunder to venture outdoors again.
And with the lightning, I'm going to do a little lightning, let's say, scope, so to speak. But 22 strikes in the last, I believe that's 10 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So still plenty of lightning. And you can see I'd still maybe bank on a little bit of hail coming out of this too. Small, but still some hail possibly.
And we have not received via the National Weather Service many storm reports yet. I'm sure we will in the coming hours. We have seen reports of trees down in Cumberland County, wires down. McKenna's been telling us about power outages. Do you have any new information, McKenna?
No, right now the one that was about 2,000 earlier, that was around Millersburg area, that's still the same, but we've seen a lot more, couple areas pop up. So small outages, either 1 to 50 or 51 to 300 or so. So not any major sections, but there have been a lot more popping up kind of in the same area, like Dauphin County area, around Bloomsburg, kind of more in the northern area of our region. Right now, Lancaster has a couple out, under 50 total, but really just the region before that had the main outages, it's just popping up a couple more. So I'd say, a little north of Harrisburg, there's probably total about 3,500, 4,000 outages right now.
Okay, so we will continue to stay on top of any damage reports. If you have damage around your house that you'd like to report to us, you can email news8@wgal.com or weather@wgal.com, and we'll be able to perhaps send some crews out and, scope the damage.
For sure.
There is still a 5-minute limit on this severe thunderstorm warning until 7:30 for York County. So the most torrential rain right now is over Dover, Emmetsville, it's over York, it's, over West York, right over Thomasville, where we have our local reading for York County.
Yes.
So I would suspect that the temperature is going to drop pretty quickly and these storms cool you off a little bit.
It'll feel a lot better, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And you were just mentioning, and I think that's probably a good assumption. I completely agree with Christine. I don't see, as she doesn't see the National Weather Service extending this warning past 7:30, but it doesn't mean we still won't have some nasty rain, lightning moving into Lancaster County.
Right, and the kind of the signature that we would look for in a severe thunderstorm with rotation would be that tight couplet, the red and the green in the velocity data close to each other. And we have really seen a weakening signature lately, which is great news. We're no longer seeing very strong rotation in this thunderstorm. It's very broad, it's very weak. So I don't think the tornadic threat now will extend, any more into York County or even Lancaster County. Just very heavy rain, frequent lightning, damaging wind gusts, still a possibility. So there, could be some damage, could be some outages, some ponding on the roads. Need you to still take these storms seriously as they move right through the heart of York City, approach Columbia, Red Lion, Winterstown. The storm is moving to the east-southeast at about 30 miles per hour. So as it does cross into Lancaster County, we're kind of losing some daylight right now, right? We're losing that sun's energy. I don't think it'll reinvigorate, but it still could be strong. So Lancaster County, especially south of Route 30, York County, especially south of Route 30, I know you're looking for some rain. This could be beneficial for you, but still, you need to take caution, take your precautions, bring anything indoors right now you don't want blowing around as these storms move to the southeast.
And we are in a drought. I know that new drought monitor came out on Thursday, so we need the rain badly. We don't need the severe weather. This is something we're going to watch, of course, tomorrow too, as this whole system shifts eastbound. As Christine hit on, as we were talking about earlier on today, I think the tornado potential tomorrow much lower, but we could still be doing it all over again with the gusty wind and the hail.
Right, and just kind of an overview right now before we go off air here in 3 minutes. The tornado warning that we saw for Cumberland County and parts of southern Cumberland County, really, that expired a while ago. A severe thunderstorm warning was extended into Adams and York counties. Now the warned storm has weakened considerably. The signature of rotation has weakened considerably, but still in York City, an approaching red line, you're going to get this torrential rain and frequent lightning. Emmetsville, it's right over you. Dover, you're almost in the clear. Wellsville is out of the danger. East Berlin, almost out of the danger. There's a little back edge coming your way, but I think the severity is dropping as these storms move southeast. We will continue to monitor these storms regardless throughout the evening and break in as necessary, and we'll provide updates on our Facebook page, Storm Team WGAL.
Most definitely. And join us again on News 8 at 11. We'll have the latest forecast. We'll break down again the potential for tomorrow and a glimpse at what's in store for Independence Day, of course, because I know many of you have plans for July 4th, and it could still be a bit unsettled too.
All right, so again, just to recap, severe thunderstorm warning expiring in just 1 minute here at 7:30 for parts of York and Adams counties. Doesn't mean that these storms still can't produce some damaging winds and torrential rain and frequent lightning. We will keep an eye on that, but the severity has really weakened as far as rotation is concerned. And, you know, we will have our guard up. There is still a tornado watch until 8 p.m., so 30 more minutes. If we can, do you have the counties that are still under the watch? TJ's going to click that really quick on our computer one. So the counties that are still under the tornado watch, that is Adams, York, Lancaster, and Lebanon until 8 o'clock. So counties northwest of there, you have been dropped from the watch. The danger is now over for your area. There could still be some rumbles of thunder moving through, but I think really the severe weather has worked over that area, and you should be good to go for the rest of the evening as far as severity.
Looking out to the west, there is some more activity, as Christine was hitting on. So right now, these are warned out to our southwest. They're moving up into the southern half of the Commonwealth. So again, some more needed rain, maybe some more rumbles, but I think the severe threat going to continue to likely wane through the rest of the evening.
All right, so we will continue to watch this. We're going to go off air here now. The severe thunderstorm warning has expired. It has not been reissued, but still York, Red Lion, maybe even Shrewsbury. I was just there, the Shrewsbury Firemen's Carnival. You could get clipped with some rain here, and we'll keep you updated on our Storm Team Facebook page. So thanks so much for hanging in here with us, and we will continue to keep you updated on any danger throughout the night.